Good morning, everyone. It is that time of the week again, and this week we are walking in Culver City, which is an enclave sort of surrounded by Los Angeles. Walking through this city is like walking through an immersive film history museum. So we're going to look at the city's role in the film industry over the years, and then we're also going to look at kind of what's happening here today. In many ways, I would say that Culver City is a more authentic version of Hollywood because you do have a lot of that history here, and there's a lot of movie making that takes place here. But it's not, the area is not completely overrun by tourists, and as a result of that, you get a much more realistic perspective of how the area really is. So I'm very much looking forward to sharing that with you today. So let's get started.
First things first, this is where Sony Pictures is located. The lot that is now Sony used to be the original studio of MGM, initially opened in 1924. The company completed an acquisition by Sony in 2005, as Sony was interested in the studio's catalog of over 4,000 titles and 10,000 episodes of TV. Before 1989, both Columbia Pictures and TriStar Pictures operated on this lot as well. Then, Sony bought both of those too. Of course, one should not be surprised to see these iconic trucks outside the studio. The Kirk Douglas Theater, opened in 1946 as the original Culver Theater, is today a performing arts venue. This was once an iconic part of Culver City's original entertainment scene, located next to Sony Pictures. You can recognize it by this big sign.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but to the right of the Culver sign, you can see there's a film crew on top of that building. Yeah, see a little diffusion going on up here. They thought I couldn't see them, but I do.
Culver City's beautiful City Hall has that quintessential SoCal look, in my opinion. Film industry. Lots of history upcoming. Culver City was founded by real estate developer Harry Culver in 1917. The city was a planned community. Its location was a major factor. At the time, this area was a mostly rural halfway point between downtown LA and Venice on the beach. Then Thomas Ince, father of the Western, came along and filmed here. Harry Culver was inspired by this, seeing its economic potential, and he convinced Ince to relocate to what would become Culver City. It was Thomas Ince who originally founded the studio lot that became MGM, then Columbia, now Sony. Originally in 1915, it was Triangle Pictures, before Ince sold the studio lot to MGM in 1919. The Culver Hotel was co-built by Harry Culver and Charlie Chaplin in 1924. This historic landmark was pivotal for housing actors and celebrities coming to this area to film. Fun fact, during the filming of 1939's The Wizard of Oz, all 124 actors who played the Munchkins stayed here. The hotel is located at the center of Culver City's walkable downtown plaza. Next to the Culver Hotel is the contemporary Culver Theater. Another view of the Culver Hotel from the center of the plaza at Culver Steps. Next, I'll show you an interactive panorama of this space.
So here you've got the Culver Hotel, and then if we look this way, you've got Culver Theater right there. And just to show you guys some perspective, huge walkable plaza here, downtown Culver City. You've got the Culver Steps back there, natural green space here, although the grass is not real. And then there's a bunch of restaurants and stuff here, and then back there is Culver Studios, which we're going to look at in a minute.
Fun fact, useful too. You can park at Culver Steps for free up to an hour. Culver Studios, also founded by Ince in 1918, is right here in downtown. It was acquired by RKO Pictures in 1928, one of the original Big Five. E.T., Citizen Kane, Andy Griffith Show, Gone with the Wind, all filmed here. Sony bought this lot too in 1991. Then Studio City LA bought it in 2004. Then in 2014, it was bought by Hackman Capital Partners, today operating as an independent studio. Interesting, right?
The astute among you might notice the Amazon logo back there. Yep, Amazon Studios is in here also.
This studio borders a residential neighborhood, with Baldwin Hills in the background here.
I wanted to take a moment just to show the residential side a little bit, because as you can see, it's pretty much right up next to all of those major studios, but it feels surprisingly isolated and quieter than you might think. And a big reason for this is because in the distance you can see the Baldwin Hills there, And those serve as a natural boundary for Culver City. So it does make it feel a little bit more isolated, or at least the residential part.
This creek is supposedly where Harry Culver originally observed Ince filming.
All right, just to give you guys some perspective of where we're at, you can see we're back at the Kirk Douglas Theater. We basically just walked in a square around the main downtown Culver City area. We walked down this way, down Culver Boulevard here, to where the studios were. We took a right at Culver Studios back into the residential neighborhood that we were just in, and we walked in a square pretty much all the way around the back. So you can see it's a very small, very walkable area.
Now we're heading southwest on Washington Boulevard. On the left, you're seeing the north border of Sony Pictures. Fun fact, although Cobra Kai is set in LA, it was filmed in Atlanta. I worked on this show, and the studio in which it is based does not have a name. The distinct characteristics of Culver City do start to get a bit lost on the west side of town. It is still very urban, but not unlike other parts of LA. Contemporary apartments and cafes like this coffee shop, a favorite in this area, are commonplace. Culver City is home to several camera rental houses like this one, Media Box Camera. Keslow Camera, a well-known house all over North America, is also headquartered here in Culver. Crossing the Bologna Creek, notice a bike path underneath. Studio Village might be the closest the Culver City has to a suburb. Let's explore that a little bit. Suburbs in LA can be tricky to define because the entire LA metro is fully developed. Generally, suburbs refer to residential districts on the outskirts of a city. Wider streets, chain restaurants and stores, cookie-cutter houses, more space, all characteristics of a suburb. Areas like this one do have a more suburban feel in that respect, but they're still dead center in the LA metro. Compare this feel to, for example, Koreatown, which is completely urban in every way. Culver City's proximity to Baldwin Hills gives it a natural limitation for urban development. Though I wouldn't call it a proper suburb like Yorba Linda, for example, this section has some characteristics of one, minus the formulaic homes.
Alright guys, that's going to be the end for today. You can see the creek kind of behind me here. So yeah, very fun area. We saw a few different sides of Culver City today. Definitely a fun place to explore and spend some time. So hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Have a good night.